call the meeting to order. And we will, and then go right along to that. Are we ready? Yes, okay. So good morning. Hold on just a second, let me call it to order. I'm calling to order the meeting of November 18th, 2025 for the Penobscot County Commissioners. Commissioner Tremble. Here. Mr. Treasurer. Here. Commissioner Marshall will be back shortly. The chair is here. At this point, I would call on our finance director for this legislation. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. I know it's a unique time of the day, but we thought to make the best of the afternoon with the upcoming budget committee hearing for this evening. The next item on the agenda would be approval of the minutes. Out of respect, we want to wait until Commissioner Marshall comes and we have to wait. Okay, and we'll ask if there is anyone present to public comment on items that are not currently on the agenda of the meeting. Seeing none, I will close, but we do not have anyone online that we have identified. Okay, so at this point, I will close public comments. HR, you have the floor.
Might go get podiums every morning.
If you want to make the podium, wherever it is, that will probably be best for the vast viewing audience.
Rails. So I have a few things today. One,
Wait a second. Just that camera.
Yeah, I was hoping you could do it automatically, but I've got the control right here.
here it goes.
Thank you, sir.
So as you can see, there's a corner full of furniture here.
Yes.
This came out of the second floor commissioner's room. And Brian and I have wondered what you would like us to do with this. We have got some prices for long-term storage, which is several $1,000s. However, a lot of the chairs are broken. Some are still in good condition, but they're very old. And so what I would like to propose is that one or more of you kind of look at this and give us permission to remove these items from the building. Photos and things that were on the wall downstairs can keep. It's really the chairs and the hard furniture that we're looking to. I know Mr. Mallard has asked about some old cabinets. If I have anything that the public is interested in having, they can reach out to us.
Would the commission consider posting on our website the availability and a bid for those, any and all, and then whatever is remaining, send them to auction houses we do with other items to be good?
I was gonna suggest, one first, those are mostly on the second floor though. I mean, we don't really know what we're gonna do with this floor. I would say get rid of the broken chairs and maybe just. They're really not weighted, let's figure out what we're gonna do with it. You might have to in this room for the chairs. And the other furniture, I don't think we have need for it.
Okay.
If we do decide we don't need it, I would say we get off of it. If they don't want it, but we don't wanna pay storage room, that's crazy.
Okay.
No,
Okay. So we have made a partial decision.
Works for me.
Not at this immediate time, but it might be nice if we have photographs there that someone could stay there. Things get found out, we may. But then. But you have a committee that works at those perfectly time.
Yes, yes, that would take.
Okay.
I will get rid of the broken things as soon as we can, and then everything else will have the love for here. Perfect.
I think that once we have some suggestions from those who live and use this. Thank you. Next item, holiday and office hours.
Yeah, so every year we have this item for you in the holiday season. staff are asking, so I want to come to you, we are closed on Thursday and Friday next week for Thanksgiving. However, Christmas this year falls on a Thursday. Historically, we have closed, like, I look at early, I think, Marianne, 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve. And so we would need to confirm that early closure for business hours, and then, I was informed that state courts and state offices are gonna be closed on Friday the 26th. And so if you chose to do something for the county on December 26th. I don't know that we need the decision today, but I do ask you to consider these so that we can make a decision and make sure the public are made aware timely.
Understood. And allow our employees to plan their lives.
Right.
You check to see if Martin's will be open that.
I have not taken one of those. I can if you would like.
Comments from the commission?
Well, I think what we've done in the past makes sense, with the 2 o'clock close, we haven't closed early on the 31st.
I think on New Year's Eve, we have left at regular.
Right, and I understand what he's in the states to it, but I just think it sets a bad precedent. I mean, next year. If we're on Christmas when it's on a Tuesday, then what are they gonna say, oh, we got the 26th off 2 years ago, or just, I'm usually a pretty nice guy, but I just don't think that's a good precedent. Set by giving it, we've never had the day after Christmas on. I mean, if it falls on a Sunday, you get the Monday off. Just. Don't see that.
I'm in agreement with Dan on this. I think we can look and make a decision, but my initial thought is no. We conduct regular business day.
And so it seems to be the will of the commission that we will do the 2 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and we will be open for business on the 26th. Hopefully, we can get caught up on something that's safe. Isn't doing that.
Great.
And Thanksgiving we're covered, right? Yeah, you didn't know. It's okay. That we don't need a vote.
As long as you're all in agreement, I think that we got standard practice.
Fair enough. Okay. At this point, you have a recommendation on an HR specialist.
Yes, and so I have it here. I also made it an executive session if you wish to take it up in executive session later. Commissioner Marshall was kind enough to sit in on the second round interviews for 2 candidates last week. The committee was comprised of Commissioner Marshall, myself, Director Fox, Director LaVoy, and Deputy Director Carroll. You all unanimously selected one candidate, Suzanne. She has accepted a conditional offer and the step 1 rate of pay. And so I would ask recommendation for your approval to make a formal offer.
Questions from the commission?
Which is, I don't think we need executive session. No, we don't have anything. Appreciate Commissioner Marshall sitting in on that, and it was unanimous recommendation. I read what was sent out. I'm very comfortable with it.
But we would authorize the HR department to follow through on.
And I would move approval.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. There you go.
So with that, item J on your agenda was my item choice, so we could have that removed.
Were there any items that came up in the interim between the time this was published that we need to add today that you're aware of? Okay. Marianne, are you aware of anything that came in that we feel we had to do? No. I think we're good. I appreciate your help and the extra work you have done during this transition. At this point, it would have delight to invite George to come up. You wanna come up here or sit there, whichever you would prefer to.
Up to here, so I can invite Galen to come up from.
Yeah, while you're doing that, in Galen, I'm going to ask the motion to approve the minutes since we allowed Commissioner Marshall time to get here. Tomorrow, yeah, any full approval. Now we're looking at the second, do we have any further discussion? Either November 5th or November 10th. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous of those present, and now we're ready for you to roll right into it.
Thank you. As you know, we've been, TIP committee and the commissioners are trying to roll out a scholarship program. Came to you a few months ago with the idea that we might
hire a very part-time consultant to help us set this thing up, launch our scholarship program out of our tax increment finance program.
Yep.
And Mr. Marshall made a recommendation that we talk to workforce development people, so Galen's here. We've talked with Link. And I like that, I don't need it, we're not looking for a decision today, but we want to keep you abreast of what we've done so far. And see if you agree with any of the work we've done. So to keep it short and sweet. Galen's come up with a tentative proposal. What do you do, what do you offer for services, what do you do? And what it would cost the TIF program to pay for these services, so. I'll let Galen kind of give his speech if you. And I just hand it out if you want.
Glad to have you back in action.
Yes, let's see it one day. Yeah, so, since met with, George and Commissioner Marshall, been able to take, and reach out to several counties and get a sense about what some of the other counties are doing as examples of how to roll out a TIF scholarship. Richmond County doesn't do TIF. Hancock County does have a TIF scholarship program and was able to speak with their coordinator down there, as well as Franklin County, which has a fairly robust TIF scholarship program as well. And so what I did is looked at what they're currently doing and just kind of extracted some of the key portions of the activities and responsibilities that we might be willing to take on if you think about in terms of role of the board. When you started out, I think it'd be really important to develop a basic SOP in terms of explaining how the TIF can be done, and within that SOP would be obviously looking at the purpose and introduction to the SOP and the TIF scholarship program, what the role of and responsibility of the TIF committee, the TIF coordinator and county officials would be within the decision-making framework of TIF scholarships, and then work with the committee and county officials and commissioners on developing an application requirements for TIF. And just a quick sidebar on that, and I know you want to keep this short, but that each county has varying approaches to their application. So there's Franklin County, they set aside X amount of money, $50,000 a year, to award students who apply, and Hancock County awards $25,000, and it could be one student that gets it or 5 students that get it. So there are a lot of options in terms of how to kind of awarding the funds, scholarships. And then application requirements, developing an application process for graduating students, or if the commissioners are interested in non-traditional students as well, from those unorganized territories, develop a funding approval process, an award process, and then as well a publication process and how we go about storing and archiving those records for safety. So there's also would be some labor involved in terms of developing forms and templates for the application and in publication process. So all of those are considerations to take into account, and essentially, what we'd be looking at is if you would like me to help with that as the board representative, and also help coordinate the TIF, be the designated TIF coordinator to roll this out. I think it's very feasible, very possible that it could be available before the school year ends, so students could access these funds. And I put in a basic timeline with some key activities that could be accomplished, and put in a basic cost of. I was looking at 1 day a week between now and May for my time, the assistant, any administrative assistance time, which would come to about $10,000. And if you really wanted me to get involved with the outreach and publication process, there'd be some travel involved, as well as some extra time. It's gonna add up to maybe another $5,000, but I feel like that basic budget, I think we could stay under it, but basically, I think we could get a lot done with the director and the commissioners, and something they're interested.
As I understand this, if we were to approve, then you would complete certain aspects by the 27th and come back to us for approval process.
Yep.
With that approval resulting in publication by May.
That would be, I think that's a realistic goal.
Okay, questions or comments?
No, I would like to mention, I want to clarify what the scholarship program is for. We are looking at a scholarship program for students, young people in the unorganized territory. And this scholarship is not going to be focused on, for instance, sending somebody to the University of Maine to get grants or pursue nuclear engineering to have those talents exported. What we're looking to do with this, what our primary focus is to use this scholarship in areas that would benefit the unorganized territory, specifically in EMS services area, fire, ambulance, and other related areas that would have those people, once we implement that program, those students graduated, that we would hopefully have them enter the workforce in Penobscot County to benefit an area where we all know we need focus and help, and that is in the EMS services. So it serves two purposes. It serves our students and it serves the needs of the unorganized territory, and it also serves the needs of the EMS services that we really need in Penobscot County. So I think it's a really focused, it's a well-planned program, and I look forward to your development for it.
I don't think we actually define what the stuff is. I think that's what we're gonna do together, so I don't think we're as far along as it sounds, but one thing I think it might be nice if we be a little creative, make a scholarship. And at the same time, maybe have a segment of that that's like debt forgiveness. If somebody wants a job at UT that we need, and they've got some student loan debt, maybe if they, commit to that job for so many years, we'll help with some loan forgiveness, something like that. That seems like it would fulfill what we want to do.
Yeah, okay. That's a good suggestion.
That's the major reason for today's informational output to you guys, see if there was anything we weren't thinking about at the time, so that's one we hadn't thought about.
With this phase, is the commission comfortable authorizing the terms to be memorialized in some kind of MOU or contract with?
NWDB, yes.
Is that we would contract with them, not in person?
That's cool. Yeah, we have contract with NWDB, who is the executive director of that over. Yeah. Does that require a motion, Mr. Chairman?
I think it would.
I would so move.
Second.
I have a motion second to enter into the terms of a contract yet to be completed with the Northern Workforce Development Board for purposes of preparing the outline for this scholarship program. And that briefly is an initial $10,000 stipend to cover 120-hour roughly duration of the project, with the possibility of an additional $5,000 for outreach expenses if we were to move forward. With that, further discussion, comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We're ready to go. We'll be taking the lead on preparing that agreement.
He will.
Bruce, thank you for your time and your willingness to help. It sounds like a great report.
He's already put more work into it than I had over the years.
Okay. George, is there a couple of other?
Yes, I skipped over a couple. The ambulance contract with Pat Ambulance, due in January 1st of each year. It's still a one-year contract, and most all of their contracted towns, I think they have 8 other contracted towns. They're all one-year contracts now. they're not willing to give us a 3-year deal, which no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't finagle that. But,
Yeah.
and I get it, it's a changing environment. So, this 1-year deal, it's a $9,000 increase from year to year, from this year to next. Taking us from 21,000 to 30,000. I asked him for a lot more input on, where and why we go to a $9,000 increase in 1 year. And they had a committee of, concerned citizens looking at the expenses for the ambulance service, the fire department, and the contracts. So I feel that each of those contracted towns that are working with Patton got a similar increase percentage wise across the board. You gotta keep in mind, Sherman's a big town and they'd get a little larger increase, but. So I felt like we would be being treated fairly after long conversations with the director up there, Pat.
Yeah, I looked at that contract, George, and after discussion with you and reviewing, I think the ask is reasonable. I was concerned, of course, that the county be not expected to share a disproportionate burden of the increase, and after looking at the contract and your discussion with you, I came to the same conclusion. This is a fair and equitable contract.
This is the same fire department that came to us for a TIF grant.
Yes, two, we've helped them buy an all-terrain vehicle and a trailer to haul it. And then just recently, we helped them contributed towards the purchase of a ton truck to haul that trailer. We've helped them quite a bit. We also just bought one of those mule tube one-wheel litters. Muley, to get them back into the woods and get patients out, so we've helped them quite a bit.
We will, under your sage advice, maintain ownership of, even though they will be assigned to the departments, right?
Right, we will maintain ownership of those.
We did that for both Patton and Illinois.
Right,
Thank you. Would you return to them with consideration of a 2-year contract with a, say, 5% COLA for the second year?
I didn't put a percentage in it, but I've asked the question several times, but their board isn't willing to do that at this time. Things are changing so fast. They're having to keep up with changing times. They're having to pay their people more to keep them and pay them more to get them. And the equipment costs are going through the roof. And they just recently purchased a new ambulance. I asked that same question. I didn't put a percentage number. No, I could always ask.
Are there discussions with surrounding areas about creating a operation similar to, or in some vein, like what Howell?
Well, except for the fact that it's called a regional EMS facility, it is a regional EMS facility, though it's not named that way. With the unorganized territories in 8 other towns, they're covering a large area, and their fire department has similar contracts with some of those other towns, not with us, with some of the other towns.
Sure.
So,
And personally, I'm grateful for the attitude that they will provide this, because I assume there's a number of areas that would be unserved if it weren't for Patton or some of these other services.
yes, one of the problems we're having is not the national monument, but Baxter State Park is in Piscataquis County. And the north gate of Piscataquis County, you gotta go through Patton to get there. So when there's an accident, and there were 3 this summer, there were problems where somebody got hurt in Baxter State Park. Piscataquis has no contract with Patton. And they won't give them a contract. So they have the forest rangers
This guy.
This guy will not give Patton or Patton.
will not pay Patton for their services. And the forest rangers up there will grab the injured person and bring them out to Matagamon, just over the gate, just outside the gate. And Patton has to go in and get them. That's happened, I think, 3 times this year already. So it's beginning to be a point of contention that I'm hoping to get with Piscataquis and Patton and get everybody in the same room and try to figure out if there's a cure. I don't know if there is. But
Is there
there's
a key director in Piscataquis County?
is the administrator in Piscataquis. Mike Williams, he's the guy. And he's very easy to work with, so we should be able to set something up and work it out, but it's causing a lot of frustration with costs. The fact that they've got to go in and pick up these people that far in. And I haven't had much of a willingness to change that price from 30.
Those three instances, Georgia, were there any insurance companies that were involved, or we be able to file a reclaim a portion of those costs, or were they all?
I'm sure there was, if there was a transport and there were, they can always get those people or their insurance company.
It might behoove us to find out if there was an insurance settlement, what it was. I mean, if we can find that info, so we can understand and appreciate the actual cost.
Yeah.
That is being absorbed by Patton, because those costs, those monies go toward reducing the cost for.
Whenever they have a transportation, they bill that person's insurance company, and
There's a lag.
for a lack of insurance, they bill the person themselves. Now, what they get from what they bill might be a different number,
That's, and there's a lag time involved.
right?
I think what would be of interest to me is what Dr. Froman might give some advice and potentially consider,
He's met with them.
okay,
I don't know,
met with Patton, but not with Scadams.
no,
I think Piscataquis, because of our unique relationship with other things we do up there, it would be valuable to engage their commissioners and their director at some point. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you.
no, that's step two, that's another process, is to get them involved in that there is a problem, first of all. And that it's causing frustrations.
I think there is a new commissioner who has over experience in state law enforcement, so that might change the dynamics of the
Yep.
discussion.
Yep.
So I'd be happy to participate in this.
I'll go back and ask Patton if they'd be willing to do a 2 or 3 year with a 5% increase. See if we can control these increases.
Just
Worth the ask.
stability and appreciation for the amount of time and effort you
Yeah.
put into something that we all believe.
We've been good partners with them so far.
Yep.
And I do think that our price takes into effect. That we have helped them out financially.
Just to make sure, is the commission comfortable we can go on board with that proposal for a 2 to 3 year?
Yeah, I'd like to approve this and then have that. Do you need this approved today?
I don't need it today.
Is it we can wait till next?
We will next,
Okay,
If you're okay with this going forward.
okay,
Make that ask, if it doesn't work, we'll approach it accordingly.
yeah. You can always ask.
And thank you. Anything further that you would like to bring up?
The very simple, the TIF application process, as you know, we've been months reviewing. Changing the application so that when someone applies for a TIF, it already says a lot of the things that we've tried to put into any of the TIF grant requests. Things like forming an escrow, things like reporting to us over time. And those things are in this new application, as well as that we put a cover letter with it that we've never had before. So if you guys approve the cover letter, the changes in the application came from Rudman and Winslow, the lawyers over there that are helping us with our tax increment finance program. It's taken us quite a while to get this all taken care of, and we've had several meetings with you guys to discuss it. This is the final product. I'd like to not roll it out until I have proof from you guys that this is the next application you'll be using.
Yeah, we look at this going forward from applications going forward during this current year too, correct?
Going forward from the time you approve.
Yeah, and George, is this one that articulates and stipulates local participation financial, and is it at 50%?
There's the cover letter states that we'll pay no 100% of anything. And then further in it, there are 2 key indicators that you guys really wanted us to add. One of them was regional. There's a sentence that comments that if they form partnerships with regional outfits, that they get priority over a single unit. So a regional effort would gain priority over someone else. Also
Recognizing consolidation efforts.
recognizing the regional effort, working with their neighbors, their partners. So that's in the application. So when they sign it, they've already read that. They know what they're committing to. As well as there's a reporting thing in there where they have to report to us financially for 4 years.
Okay. Do we have
We left,
action that we would like
yeah,
to take?
let me ask one, we've left the actual, we left the actual without that any applicant having to have money up front. Is that changed?
That's not a rock hard number. If you get 50% or more, you're high priority.
Yeah.
That's listed in there, that it says if you give 50%, you move up on that.
That's where I saw.
But there is no solid number that you're gonna have to be this much.
I saw the 50%, I wanted to know where that was. With that, I would move we will improve the tip.
I have a motion to approve the TIF letter as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any questions?
Have we always charged the fee for the application?
Yes, $100 application.
Okay, further discussion, comment? Hearing none, ready for vote? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous of those present.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I believe we are now at item F. Do we want to have a public discussion, or is this one of the items for the take care of table?
I would say, I would request a short executive session, is that listed on these?
One of these executive sessions would cover that, yes. I believe we have removed one of those, what I would suggest. The commission is okay, let's approve the warrants before we go into executive session, and we've got several of those. Is there any other business that we need to take care of? So we don't hold people up before we do the executive session? Nothing. I don't see any waiting for anybody. At this point, I would entertain a motion on item G, taking that out of order.
I hope we take it out of order and approve the warrants under section G of today's agenda.
Second, I have a motion to second. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye, it is unanimous. At this point, I would entertain a motion to go in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 executive sessions remaining. I see that 4 of those are contract matters and 1 is a personnel matter.
How can we go into executive session on these items under Title 1 MRSA section 405?
Okay. I have a motion and a second, and that will cover section A and B. Further discussion, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Kirk, is there anything that you had before we end this meeting? Okay, so here-
You wanted to say that I think George went longer than I ever.
Okay, wow, that's an interesting observation. You think you're going to be here. Okay, we are in this room. We thank everyone for attending, and we will start. Follow this.
Brandon gets fancy stuff.
There you go. Okay, the meeting of November 18th, 2025, we have come out of executive session on a contract personnel matter. At 2:58. At this point, I would entertain a motion from the commission related to an interim administration.
I move we approve the agreement with Gary Lamb to be an interim administrative for Knoxville County.
Second. I have a motion, second, any discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Mr. Lamb, thank you. And welcome to Penobscot County.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments you would like to share at when it is serving and
Oh, I think I learned a lot today, especially this evening.
yes.
You have a packet. What are you packing?
Yes, I will have Marion give you a copy of the budget.
Have
Have one?
I believe he's asking about
an
the
employee packet.
Yes, I will give you some, I think we'll just some payroll forms, so they're not good benefits.
Yep.
I'll give that to you.
yeah, okay. So at tonight's meeting, we will introduce you probably at the initiation of the meeting. And if you have any comments you would like to make at that point, you're welcome to do so.
Maybe I'll just do the fire comments that say what I've been doing the last 25 years. What's the relevance?
Yeah, I think we would like to also prepare an announcement that we would send out. Started to supply you with the contract. I also, with your permission, will give her your resume. And to me. And that you have something.
You have that?
I do have, it. I just wanted to know if it was okay to supply that.
Of course.
You want me to prepare a press release and send it to you for approval?
Let's do that. Let me send you both of these.
See what I mean? Staff to do things. I'm not used to that.
Thank you.
By the way, I'd already signed off, saying you were the one that would.
Okay, well, I'm
Just thought I'd share that.
We're just through.
So do you want to make another motion to go back into executive?
Yes, we want to do that. Is there only one place we're signing for that? We haven't actually voted on that agreement, have we?
Yeah, we did,
Yeah.
We did.
yeah, 3-all.
I wrote it down. That's
Okay.
The what agreement?
Pat and Andy.
No, we said we were gonna wait, he was gonna go back, to see if he can do a long.
Yeah,
So we didn't, oh.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I thought we voted on.
So I said, did he need a
Yes.
decision made, and he said he was okay, if we wait.
Right, well, great, we've all signed it. Let's put this away.
Put it on hold?
Hold on to it, there's don't date it yet, till.
Got it.
Where do you want me the rest of the day?
I would say, Gary, what we're going to do for this meeting will be an executive session, so it doesn't really matter. But for tonight, I think we are angled with the camera to this side so that the podium and the commissioners are always on screen. It's wide enough the way he has it set. So for tonight, if you were to sit on this side, maybe with Glenn and Danny, so if there were items we need, or I can move down, you can sit here just this side so that if there are items that come up. We will also have Scott here tonight.
Yep.
And we will have a finance director back in the room. All of the department heads are invited. But what we have done, just so you're aware of the agenda, and remind me, I sent you the contract, but I haven't sent you the contract.
I have an agenda.
You do have the agenda for this, okay. So historically, what we have done is talk to each department, not necessarily in order, but we have gone through each department. My recommendation to this evening's budget is because of the nature of what is going on, and we're still in public session here, aren't we?
Yes, you are. So do you want to?
No, I'm fine with the public understanding what we're doing, because I think it's important. But the objective is to concentrate in the areas that have either significant impact on the budget or have had significant changes in their allocations, such as HR and
Don't put me in the same category. I'm the small increase.
Well, we want to be very transparent. There are three budgets that the county has. We have the UT budget, which ultimately goes to the legislature for final. So we will present that tonight. We will then ask HR, the regional dispatch center and the sheriff to speak on their department budgets as noted here. And then the jail budget is a separate budget, so the combination of commission and the treasurer will speak with the sheriff on what's going on with the jail operation ongoing. And then Glenn, I think, has prepared a statement related to the jail deficit. So within the county budget, we have historically not covered the full cost associated with operating the jail. Part of that is related to something you're probably familiar with, which is if you were on a calendar year budget and the state is on a fiscal year budget, you have to guess at some number.
Yep.
We are still a calendar year budget. So we have had to estimate certain things, and that has resulted in some calculations that were not in line with what we ultimately would get from the state.
And for my own edification, how long has the budget committee had this budget?
The budget committee received their booklet sometime within the last 7 to 10 days. They've either had them picked up here or come in to get them themselves. The budget committee in the front of the book, if you have a copy, you can see the names of those. Each commissioner has 5 people from their district. One of those individuals, is the elected legislator. The other 4 are elected municipal officials. 2 of whom are chosen through a caucus method every 2 years. 2 are appointed by the commissioner of that district. This year, the budget committee does have some changes due to variations in people service and election.
Maybe that's a response.
So my book is, here it is.
Yeah.
For Commission 1, I think if you are in your budget book, you can see the list of who is there.
You see that, Dan, sorry?
The one blank slot, if you still have it,
Dan is filled.
Susan Fulham.
Susan Falloon from the Bangor Council.
I gotta go over the whole.
That vacant now?
That is now filled by a new councilor that was just elected in November of this year.
And have they met?
They have not met as a group yet. Historically, they have only been
Together once.
together in the November budget meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
This year, we did institute a different scheduled meeting with town administrators. So we had one in, I believe, May, where we invited them all in, and I think we had 25 or 26 towns that physically sent representatives, a few others online. So there's a total of 55 communities in the county. So a little over half of them were represented there. The second meeting was in September, where we again convened them to discuss particularly the budget impact of absorbing the full jail deficit.
And since you don't have a charter, they are advisory only.
That is
Yeah, oh, you mean which group?
the budget.
The budget committee, what they, to not, they get a vote, the only way to override that vote is by unanimous vote of commissioners. So if they vote not to fund something, and we vote 2 to 1 to fund it, it doesn't happen, it's gotta be unanimous vote of commissioners.
Yeah, that's in the statute.
And then, you know, a lot of those people that were at those meetings over the summer, very, 1 or 2 of them might be on the budget, so there weren't a lot of people on the budget committee that probably were aware of what was going on until they got that book, so, and the way it's stipulated, it has to be an elected official, so if we wanted to appoint a local treasurer or a local manager, we can't right now, so I'd like to see us tweak the membership, the statute that covers the membership a little bit, so we have a little more flexibility that we appoint to the budget committee. And I think it also should meet more often, it doesn't say it just needs to meet in November, that's a minimum, it needs to meet, I think, within 10 days.
That has been our operating procedure, but I think we all agree. In light of some of the concerns we have, that it is imperative that the budget committee be involved more.
Yeah, that's really, like,
But it's after we've come up with our own budget, you know, so pretty hard to have them. Have a budget committee before we've finalized our own budget.
I think the challenge that we have faced is like the frog in the pot, it's slowly been turned up and now it's boiling and frog can't get out of the pot.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we know that and
You are not in a public meeting right now.
still.
We have not gone back to executive session. I felt this was a
Yeah, that's
productive conversation they had publicly. So the challenge has arisen if you've not been able to ascertain this. From what there has been a chronic shortfall in the jail funding model for particularly our county because of population in our jail, but it's affecting some other counties. I've had conversations with several counties that have seen it. A reduction in what they are receiving in state funding. So Tim Curtis, who is the administrator in Somerset, has been working diligently last year to gather some data. All jails in Maine, and there are 14 county jails, because Two Bridges is Saginaw and Lincoln. And then Waldo is a 72-hour hold. It appears that Knox has now gone to that same model. They will be housing their inmates at Two Bridges. And only being a regional booking and 72-hour hold facility. So if you're familiar with that model, you still have a county intake because your county jails do not maintain holding facilities. So for years, we booked all arrestees for local, county, state, and federal agencies at the county jails. The
And the
state-
only reason Knox did that is because it was because of the budget committee, they couldn't get quorum. And they couldn't move forward with the budget in 2026 without the budget committee acting. They have most counties are different with the makeup of the budget committee, how it works. Now they have the budget, as I understand it, the budget committee appoints their own membership. But you have to have a quorum to meet, and they couldn't get a quorum together, so they couldn't meet to appoint more members, so. I think they're trying to get to a whole set change here.
As I understand it, there was an election process for their budget committee. Nobody ran for several of those slots, so they cannot. They're in a quandary that they need some guidance on how they're going to fill the slots so that they can maintain a quorum on that committee. Not our problem, but it's endemic of how the budget processes operate. Franklin County has a stronger budget committee too, where they are elected. And those individuals vote on the budget and without a unanimous consent, they cannot override the budget committee. And this year there were some versions of there.
There's many people that don't have applicants.
It's a somewhat archaic form, doesn't diminish the importance of it, but I mean, when we do our caucuses here. We sometimes struggle to get a significant number of people to show up. And generally, it is incumbent on the commissioners to ensure that there is somebody committed to run for that seat.
Yep.
To make sure that we have a full budget. So that's a side issue, but the point of it is. This process for jail funding. Derives from 2008 decision for the state to take over the jails. And therefore take responsibility for operations. Which they then quickly found they were not really prepared to do, so they gave the jails back but left the cap in place.
Which is what, 20% max?
I believe it's based upon a formula, and I'm gonna have to research this, but there was a base formula that you could increase over the 2008 prior budget. But that was it. And then in 2015, I believe they increased the cap. Recognizing that costs had surged. But there still is a cap which we would have to vote unanimously to override in the county.
Spend whatever requests.
Well,
Raise,
I mean, we spend it quite candidly.
you gotta raise it.
So what we end up doing is we then supplement the jail budget with revenues from the county side. And carry that on the books as a receivable to the county treasury from the jail.
And have you been receiving more because you had more inmates?
Not at the level that we have needed to cover. And what occurred was when this started out. Many of the jails working with Penobscot had been very gracious about housing inmates at little to no cost or boarding fee. We were providing transport to their counties to get people to other jails or to the prison. And we would supplement sometimes their food budget, but they were not charging support per day rate for that person. That then went to 45 to 55 at most of the jails. And then that escalated about a year and a half to $85, and now it's at $100. So we have seen this deficit spiral upward very quickly in the last 2 years. And it started in 2002, when the Department of Corrections advised the sheriff that they were going to lose the license and it would be revoked if we did not reduce our population down to the licensed bed count of 157. It was temporarily revoked. We were notified by the risk pool, we would then lose our insurance coverage. The sheriff worked very diligently to correct that measure, but it resulted in an obligation for us to board out. And at the same time, we started committing to boarding more people and asking for a set number of beds, the fee went up.
And you're at 50 to 75 per night that go elsewhere.
We are somewhere around 65 as an average, so it fluctuates a little bit, but the number that the sheriff is using in his budget calculations is 65 inmates boarded out per night at $100.
$6,500 a day.
And that could go up in July,
It
because that's what happened.
The $100.
It's
No,
going
it isn't.
it has gone to $100 for boarding at 2 bridges, and the two that we have commitments from for a percentage of beds regularly are Somerset County and 2 Bridges region. There are a couple of other jails that the sheriff is able to negotiate with. They may not be at the 100 per night rate right now. But it is well known among the different jail administrators and sheriffs what other counties are charging, and there is a reality that they have costs that are accelerating. So while we are not happy to have to pay those rates, we can understand the need for them to do this. Now, it is plus revenue to a couple of these counties. Which is fine. Because we appreciate we have no other choice. It's a very tenuous situation. So the state overall, with the 14 jails, accumulates about $130 million per year operational expenses. The state gives us $20.4 million per year. Historically, while it was not dictated in statute, there was a general understanding that they would fund the jails at about 20%. You remember the education funding fight that you may have been involved with years ago.
To 55.
That took 15 years to get there.
Yeah, they're all violating state laws, not municipal ordinances.
Yeah, so 55% is a distant goal for us, but we need an understanding that we can't say to people, we're full, we can't take any. We are obligated by state statute to take in any inmate that is brought, or any arrestee that is brought to us and take possession, that we cannot refuse inmates. And the problem that we face is when we take them through the door, we assume responsibility for their health care as well.
Yeah.
So our medical is running about if I may be off a little bit on this, but I believe our medical for the inmates is running about $5 million.
And then this it's a fluke where those are on Medicare, or on Medicare or on Medicare, that follows that individual until they go into our facility. At that point, Medicare and main care ends, and then it becomes the fiscal responsibility of the county to carry that going forward until they are released again. Well, we're trying to get change those federal regulations so that that main care and Medicare follows the individual as it should. It should follow the individual. It shouldn't end at the door and expect the county taxpayers to have to pick up a medical cost. That is an unacceptable burden that again has been forced upon us.
And it also affects cash. Cash.
Don't want to hurry you along.
I know, I mean, I'm
You've got
looking,
5 executive sessions, I think 2 are gonna take you 15-20 minutes each, so. You've got about an hour before your budget hearing.
yep, so let me send you this resume before I forget.
And do you want me in or out of those executive sessions?
I think at this point where we have engaged you, it would be appropriate for you to be here to.
And if I do have some big comments tonight, you want me from my chair or up to the podium?
I think it would be helpful to be closer to the microphone and be up here at the podium.
Can't see the podium, but I suppose.
He's gonna,
It moves as it picks up sound.
Okay, yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
pretty
then
quick.
I'll be able to see what you.
You know, I think you have both items that you need, and I know we need you for effectively.
Yes,
So what would you recommend that we take up first, so that you have some
I
time?
would take up the issue of Register Simmons first, for the half that I'm in those,
Yeah.
and then, the Sheriff Morton, I don't need to be in them, he and I have worked some of these issues out, so I'm comfortable that we can just relate to what we've done.
But this point, I'll invite registrar back in, and we're going to executive session again.
We now out of.
I need a motion, so I can turn this off. I just need a motion in a second.
I'll move, we go into executive section,